Vivikta desha asino virago vijitendriyaha bhavaye dekam Ātmanam tamanan yadhihi. Vivikta desha, in a solitary place, asinaha, seated, viragaha, free from desires, vijitendriyaha, controlling the senses, bhavaye, meditate, tongue, that, ekam, one, Ātmanam, the self, anantam, boundless, ananyadhihi, with unswerving attention. Sitting in a solitary place, freeing the mind from desire and controlling the senses, meditate with unswerving attention on the infinite Ātman, one without a second. Namaste. Okay, now we're getting to the really fun part. I mean, the interesting part, which is the same for me, because anything that is strongly interesting is much fun. So what is our fun for today? Sitting down in a solitary place, away from everybody, where there's no interruptions. A silent place, a lonely place. The Buddha recommended the roots of a banyan tree because the banyan tree celebrate them. Because the banyan tree protects and isolates you from sound from all sides. Or the bo tree. The bo tree has wonderful qualities of increasing concentration, and especially if you make a tea of the fallen leaves of the bo tree. It's very, very good for concentration. So he recommended to go to the roots of a tree, the banks of a river, a forest, a mountain, a field, an abandoned house. These are places where usually nobody comes around, unless the farmers are out plowing or something. So you go to a place that is comfortable, quiet, because you want to sit there for a while. Bring water, bring a sitting pad, a cloth or a pillow, or best of all, an animal skin to insulate you from the ground, from the earth, because the earth will suck out the energy of the meditation. So you should not sit directly on the earth when meditating. There should always be some insulating pad in between you and the earth. Then freeing the mind from desire. Now, you might say, how do I do that? Well, it's an effort of will. You have to just train the mind. Okay, now we're meditating. Drop all these desires. And you'll be surprised. This is half the battle. Because the mind is always jumping here and there based on some desire, either for something or against something. Either I want this or I don't want that. Either I love this or I hate that. The mind is always jumping and chattering like a monkey. So you have to train the mind to stop. When you want it to stop, to drop all these desires. And controlling the senses means sitting with the back straight, the head erect, the legs crossed, the hands either on the knees or together across the belly, not moving. The only motion is the breath. And by the way, that's a very good place to start training the mind in concentration, is monitoring the breath, observing the breath, being aware of the breath, anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. And you will find this very quickly gets you into concentration, and into ecstasy. I'm not going to go into the explanation of why that's so. If you've been following this channel for any length of time, you'll already know. Meditate with unswerving attention. In other words, don't get distracted. Don't start daydreaming. Don't fall asleep either. Stay awake. Keep your attention at the tip of the nose. That doesn't mean, looking cross-eyed. That means you put your attention there. Why? That's where the breath is felt. And what do we meditate on? The infinite Ātman, the self, the sense of I am, the being. Not the seeing, not the hearing, not the tasting, smelling, touching, or even the thoughts. We want to be beyond all that, actually beyond consciousness, external consciousness. But we want to be concentrating on consciousness of consciousness or awareness of awareness. That's Turiya. So once we become established in Turiya, for all practical purposes, that is Brahman. That is Brahman. The Ātman, the self, I. Not the limited, fallible, temporary, lowercase I, the individual I, but the collective, the great, the Brahman, the Ātman, the universal self. One without a second. There is no other in Brahman. Brahman is one, and Brahman is present within all bodies, within all creatures, within all life, because all life is conscious. In other words, what we are to meditate on is life itself, even beyond consciousness of the senses and the objects of the senses. But when life becomes conscious of itself, and you will start to see so many wonderful benefits. You'll sleep better, you'll feel better, you'll have a better appetite, you'll be enjoying life more. So many things. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And ultimately, you will come in contact with Shiva and Shakti. You will come in contact with Brahman and ultimately realize yourself to be Brahman. And that is the acme. That is the ultimate self-realization, the epitome of consciousness, knowledge, and bliss. And this is to be achieved by all. This is to be relished by all and known by all, because it is common to all. The one thing that we have in common with all other living entities is consciousness. But in our ordinary waking state, in conditioned consciousness, we are caught up in the objects of the senses and the desires of the mind. That means we have to stop that before we can be aware of the actual consciousness, the actual being of Brahman. So this meditation training should begin as early as possible. If you haven't started it already, start it today. Because this is what is going to save you at the time of death from having to transmigrate to another body. You will be able to completely drop even the subtle bodies and enter into Brahman itself. Every morning when I wake up and every night when I go to sleep, I do this meditation and I enter into the light, which is the best symptom of the presence of Brahman or the realization of Brahman, the light. What we're not seeing is not Brahman itself. we are seeing the light of Brahman reflected in the purified mind and intelligence. How do we purify the mind and intelligence? Well, it's described in this verse. Go to a solitary place, free the mind from desire, and control the senses. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just concentrate the mind on Brahman. And this will lead to the highest peak of self-realization.
Tat Sat Om Shakti Om